everybody doing? Good. Chad Cooksey, strength coach, Broome High School. Today we're going to talk about velocity by design. Every baseball coach in here wants their guys to have more velo, pump more velo, and part of that is learning how to build a comprehensive program from January 1st, December 31st, or December 30th. So we're going to really go into two phases. First phase, we're going to look at how do you build a year-long program? How detailed is it? What does it look like? How do we divide it up? And then after that, I'm going to pick two of the phases within those to kind of go over those, look at them, and a really big piece on how to increase velo with that last phase before we get into the competitive season. Previous stints, I can't stand on the stage and speak without telling my first Andrews High School people. Are my Andrews High School people here? No, they'll probably be here later. They're probably drunk on a golf course somewhere. I'm 22 years old. I get my first email account with the school head football coach. Named is Steve Hart. Used to be at North Myrtle Beach. Back then, it's right about the only thing I remember about Andrews High School. It was so long ago. It was your first initial of your first name and your last name in the email. So he was Sharp and Georgetown, whatever it was. And I was like, if I could ever have a name, that's what I want to be in my email. After that, I went to Spartanburg High School, just missed West Brown. I was there for 3 years to 2014 until I took the job at Landrum. That's when I became a true head strength coach. Before then, I was actually in the classroom and did a lot of stuff as an assistant. But I spent 9 years there with that crazy fool back there, Daniel Little, and Justin Henson. Had some special times in the guys. A lot of the stuff that we developed back then are things that I do now, and actually a big part of this presentation. I spent 1 year at York, then I got a chance to come back home to my alma mater at Broome High School, where my wife's a volleyball coach. My kids are in middle school, so it's kind of a new experience having my kids coming through my training program now. So it's a lot of fun. That's just some stuff about me in terms of education, where I've been, what I've done. Currently, as I said, I am the Director of Sports Performance at Broome High School. I'm also the Vice President of South Carolina High School Strength Coach Association. July, I'll be the President. Why do I say this? Baseball guys, please, every time the year comes around, just join and be a member of our Strength Coach Association. Last December at Dorman High School, we had Coastal's baseball strength coach there. We've always got a lot of guys coming through different clinics that can really help and take your program to another level. But anyway, other shit don't matter. But really think about becoming a member of South Carolina High School Strength Coach Association. So, introductions, some quotes from some really famous gurus in whether it's the field of baseball, biomechanics, strength and conditioning, and some important pieces within these quotes that'll hopefully get the brain start working. First one, it's actually divided into 4 parts. First one, force production and velocity. Higher levels of force production by the back leg in the direction towards the plate leads to higher wrist ball and velocity. Baseball guys see that, they probably see that damn last word, right? Velo. Okay, and we all want velo. Where does it come from? Production of force by the back leg. Okay, so as of right now, the first quote, we're already seeing force, force, force. Second quote, the body will only accelerate when it can safely decelerate. Build the brakes and the brain will let the engine run. Anybody heard of Eric Cressy? Yeah, he's a freaking genius when it comes to strength stuff. He's got a psycho, which I like, but he's probably the true guru of baseball strength. But he's exactly right. Okay, you got to train the muscles that slow down. Okay, that's some self-correcting stuff. Okay, another quote that can be dealt and handled with the weight room. Second one, kinetic chain and front side stability. The braking force as applied by the lead leg during and after foot contact is actually the source of the energy that is transmitted up the body for maximum power output. Okay, so where's your power start from? The base. The base. How much force can you put in the ground, and then how can you absorb that force? If a pitcher is not effectively using their legs to generate and transfer energy up the kinetic chain, what's probably going to happen? They're going to compensate. By overusing our arm, the result in elevated arm torques and a higher risk of injury. So in a minute, we get through that first phase. We're going to talk about going through a movement screen. Why do they go through a movement screen? Well, this guy right here in this example, this quote, he's got an energy leak somewhere. Okay, and when you have an energy leak, you're going to overcompensate with something else. And most baseball injuries are due to overcompensation, usually in something that you're doing incorrectly. 3, specificity of power. Apply force in the right way at the right time. Speed and rhythm are not mutually exclusive terms. You cannot have rhythm and timing in the midst of weakness and dysfunction. Anybody ever had middle school kids in the weight room? Yeah? You ever seen a bench press for the first time? It's literally like this. It's like they're shaking bamboo bars, right? They have 0 rhythm, 0 timing. They're weak as crap. There's no dysfunction. Their neurons are not firing correctly. So what can't they do? They can't apply force. You've got to train ass to throw gas. Guess who said that, right? Being stronger increases your likelihood of success. I don't know about this part. Even if it means you're playing with fire in respect to injuries. The alternative is to throw 88, which won't help you compete in the modern game. Obviously, we would love our guys to be able to throw 88, right? It's all relative, right? If you have a guy sitting at 75, you want to find a way for him to sit at 81, right, or 79. So it is all relative. If you want to throw the gas, a kid that normally throws 76, if he can throw 82, he's thinking he's throwing gas, right? Well, to get that, you got to train the butt. 4, movement quality, the architecture, which we're really going to talk about in this presentation, how you are the architect of your program. You cannot put fitness, strength, speed, velocity, you can put any words you want right there on top of dysfunction. That's why movement screens are screening your athletes and seeing what, and that's actually from Greg Cook, the founder of the functional movement screening system, but you can't put it on top of dysfunction. You can't do it. And at the high school level, it's so hard, right? Because you may only have one guy that can throw, right? You may only have 2 guys that can throw, right? If you have 3 at the 1A, 2A level, it's like a miracle, right? So you're always wanting to push, because that's all you got. But does that kid have any type of dysfunction? So you're kind of putting it behind the 8 ball in terms of development. And that's really what this whole presentation is about, is development. Developing your players, so you can develop a program, develop a culture, all these things that you want to do inside your baseball program. The last one, the instance of maximum shoulder external rotation and ball release are critical for upper extremity kinetics. Pitchers need to learn proper fastball mechanics at an early age to reduce joint kinetics and injury risk. I know that's a lot of damn big words, I'm sorry, but it's true, okay? When we go to the last phase, we're going to talk about the profile of a kid that can throw 90, okay? And I'm not talking about those special kids, right? I'm talking about the kid that's above average that has a chance, right? This kid, the guy who spoke before, he was crazy, the type of talent that he's had, right? You'd love to be able to have a 9-hole hitter. What did he say, 14 home runs or something like that? Man, that's crazy. We didn't have 14 home runs in the season. Hell, we might have had double-digit home runs in the season those years, even when we won state championship, right? But the point of all that is, even if you don't have those phenomenal athletes, you still have those above average guys, those guys that sit even right above average that have a shot, okay? And that's part of learning how to profile, or what a profile of a 90-mile-an-hour kid is. And the last thing that I have nothing to do with, because I'm just an old weightlifting coach, is mechanics. That's your job. So, all but the last one, I can do in the weight room. If you guys do the weight room at your school, you can do it. But the last one, man, it's really up to the baseball coach. Let's see. All right, the philosophy, the goal. We're going to break this up in 3 pieces right here. The goal, the first thing, and hopefully we've kind of got past this as a state. We've got some really good strength coaches in the state. But the days of just working out, right, those are over. We want to be more of a performance architect. We have a plan. It would be like as a baseball coach having a shopping cart full of baseballs and just push them on the field and just give them a piece of paper, then we go have a practice. Probably nobody in this room would want that for their practice. It would be pointless. Well, the weight room's the same way. We're not just going to work out. There's a purpose, there's a direction, there's a reason why we're doing what we're doing, because there's an outcome of performance that we want. And if we follow this series of instructions, these phases, these cycles, then we can produce, just like your practices, you can put your best product on the field. Why is that the goal? Velocity is king. Velocity is the basis of every great athlete. If a kid can run really fast, jump really far, jump really high, he can probably be a pretty damn good baseball player, right? Or there's no way you would turn him away from your program. I know that, right? You would do your best to develop him into a player, because athletic kids also learn things much faster when it comes to skill. Okay? So what is velocity? What's the basis of this? It's the physical manifestation of total body power and nervous system efficiency. That 8th grade kid on the bench, right? That 7th grade kid trying to do lunges and everything's just shaking like a leaf. Okay? He has no nervous system efficiency. He can't manifest the power that's in his body. What velo isn't just. It isn't just how hard you throw or how fast you run. It's a series of those things that takes years and time and months and cycles to do, and that's the outcome that you get, right? The outcome being able to throw hard and run fast. Well, we got a goal. We know why we're doing it. Well, how the hell do we get there? We believe in 3 things. We're going to assess with our screens, we're going to address, then we're going to progress, okay? And it's so, guys, trust me, I've coached football for almost 20 years now too, and no matter what on Friday, there's a product that you have to put on the field, because there's like no other dudes coming into the locker room between now and Friday. It is so easy to just want to do this. I understand, I get it, I do. But we've got to take a step back, we've got to assess, we've got to address, and we've got to progress. So, what's the first part? We're going to look at how to build what a true year-long baseball strength program looks like, at least how we do it at Broome. Okay? We're a five-phase system. You can go 4, you can go 6. It's really what you believe and how much time you want to put into each phase. But we're 5 at Broome, and we're going to be a backward by design approach. We know what we want when the season starts. Then we want to go backwards from there to know how we're going to divide up our phases. And this picture I'm going to show you is a PDF here. If you want it, I have it on, I think, Excel or Sheets. If you want it, I can send it to you, and you can do whatever you want to do within your program to fit it. But that's what it looks like, okay? That's how organized and detailed it needs to be. The top, weeks 1 through 52, you got your months, you got your stages below that. You got, we're going to be a competitive phase, active recovery phase, hypertrophy, power development, and the prep phase is where we're going to really talk about our velo. Okay? What's the longest phase? Which one looks like the longest phase? Well, it's competitive, right? We got from January all the way to about the 4th week of June. Those are the days when we had that Legion Ball and those little things you used to do on Wednesdays, driving or whatever. So our competitive phase was always our longest phase, okay? So that was how we did our backward by design. Then we had our prep, then we did our power, we knew how much hypertrophy we wanted, and how much active recovery that we needed, okay? The purpose, how many days a week we were going to lift during those phases, when we were going to test, right? Everything. We're going to load, we're going to deload, we're going to go back to base, we're going to load. We're going to do a quick test here. We got a test here. Here's our different phase where we went into power development, acute phase. There's another test. We got done with test. We got to recover for 1 week. Then boom, we got to hit some power. Here's another test. So it's just uber organized and uber detailed. And I'm going to briefly go over each phase. And when you get my email at the end of this or phone number, if you want more specifics on every phase, I can give you whatever you need. We're here to help serve. And the bottom are just like extra notes of how we would do the splits, how we would do our speed work, velocity-based stuff, our work capacity, when we want to start working, if you want to do like a 300 shuttle run, whatever you felt, because it's my job, even if I'm not a big guy, a fan of coaches running polls, it doesn't matter. It's not my team, it's your team, right? So it will be part of my job to serve you to make sure that, this thing's going straight downhill. Did y'all see that? It's my job to serve you guys and get you to the goals that you want for your team. But that's kind of what a yearly plan for baseball would look like. So, like I said, we're a 5-phase school. Here's the 5 phases that we're always going to do. You can, even though number 1 is phase 5, whatever your 1 is, it could be phase 5, which is the beginning of the end of the season, or you can start with hypertrophy. I just call phase 5 recovery, always did. That's our reset, that's our start, okay? That's where, what's the tissue quality postseason? How many innings have my guys pitched? Well, what about my catcher? Freaking quad smoked, hamstring smoked, low back smoked, right? We want to make sure that we can get the tissue quality back to where it was before the season. Because like I said, that competitive season was so long, they're probably beat up. That's why we want to restore range of motion. We want to try and turn off every check engine light in the body. Okay? That's a great time for a movement screen, which we do at Broome. It's a great time to get with your athletic trainer, all the rehab you need to do. Broome, after we actually screen our kids, then we have this period called flex, where it's like is it 40 minutes? It's a 40-minute period in the middle of the day. And they can do tutorial, they can come to strength, they go to a club, but depending upon how you score on our movement screen, you'll actually go to our trainers during that flex period and work on your movement, mobility, things of that nature. Okay, but that's our first phase. We're going to lift twice a week, right there. We're going to do a lot of complexes, heart rate up, blood flow, take care of the muscles, just to kind of give the body a reset before we get to the first phase. Okay. Phase 1, hypertrophy, the build. Okay? We're going to increase cross-sectional areas of the muscle. We're going to build the body armor, the neural maps for our new athletes, right? Those kids that can't move well, ain't nothing firing right, they can't keep anything in a straight line. We want to gain size, tissue strength, tissue gain, ligament growth. We just want to prepare the body for what's coming next. That's also the time where, especially in the spring, we're going to do our character development stuff. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about the importance of building great habits, right? Having these goals without habits don't mean anything. It's a waste of your time. Workouts are probably going to suck during that phase. He was talking about puke and rally on a Friday. That cycle is pretty much a puke and rally cycle, okay? Your 8s, your 10s, your 12s, your 6%, 65%, 70%, and it freaking sucks. And it's okay that it sucks. It's okay that it's hard, right? And it's a small block. 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to get ready for what we need to do next. Phase 2, okay, is that strength phase. Horsepower. We like to call it at Broome now. That's when we're going to build our force bucket. We're going to put as much in our force bucket as we can. Because you can't have velo, you can't have transfer if you ain't got a bucket full of force. Okay? So now we're going to really recruit CNS. Okay? All that stuff we worked on for these kids to move stuff properly. We've identified anything that's issue-wise with movement. So now we can build. Now that the building phase is over, we're going to try to get strong as shit. I mean, stupid strong. We want to freaking blow out eyeballs, okay? We want to convert the size gain into potentiation, okay? And we know potential by itself doesn't mean a lot, okay? But if you can have some potential, now you got a chance to be special, okay? So that's that next phase. Then we're going to get into phase 3. Okay? That's the transfer phase. That's that strength speed phase. That's where we're going to bridge what we've done in the weight room, all this strength, all this force bucket that we've done, and we want to bridge it to the field, okay? Because you're not squatting 315 on a damn baseball field, okay? You're not cleaning 275, you're not even just doing vertical jumps, okay? But that's our chance to bridge all the things that we've worked on to make you a better athlete, where you can produce more force and produce it rapidly, to be the best player that you can be. Now we want to move some more moderate loads, okay? We're 80, 85%. But we're looking at doubles and triples. We want to move those weights that are pretty freaking heavy, not crazy heavy, but heavy, and we want to move them fast. Fast, fast, fast. Okay? That's where we're going to do our Throw 90 program. Okay? That profile of what a 90-mile-an-hour athlete looks like is turned into a program for us. We're going to really hit max velo. I'm going to show you a lot of videos in a little bit of what that looks like. A lot of vertical force, horizontal force, all this force development that we can make, rate of force development, so we can become more powerful, more explosive. And the last phase is the in-season phase. Anybody like in a 1A, 2A school? Maybe 3A? Yeah. This is probably the hardest, if anybody knows the hardest thing in all of high school athletics, from my perspective as a strength coach, it's that one right there. It's in season, okay? Because your baseball player probably also plays what? Basketball, and probably plays what else? Football, okay? That damn Division I baseball player, you know, he ain't playing 3 sports. He is baseball all year round, okay? Our guys at our level, they're not. So you can't take the in-season approach of just saying, hey man, we're just gonna back off. Can't do that, because we saw on our picture a second ago, that's the greatest part of our season anyway. It was like 6 months almost out of the year, 5, 6 months. So you can't take that time off, but you also got to be smart about it. That's what we call continue to proof. It's just like bread. What happens when you proof bread? Is it baking in the oven yet? No, but it's still what? It still rises, it still grows. Okay? That's the mentality. High intensity, low volume. The bread's proofing. We're going to grow. We don't maintain, but we do this with a systematic approach, especially for your pitchers and catchers. Okay? I know that's where it gets a lot more difficult. Okay? And it's also not fair to you as a baseball coach if your football coach and basketball coach don't do anything in season. And it's not fair for your football and basketball coaches if y'all don't do anything in season, right? We all share athletes. We all have to work together. Okay? This is position-specific loading, major focus on max velo. Okay? I love max velo time with dashers. Okay? We didn't have dashers at Landry. We didn't. But we had Coach Little's base running system he picked up for at Wofford maybe. Yeah, so that's where we did our max velo. We made sure every week, twice a week, we're getting our max velo as hard as we can. It was just built into his baseball program. Okay? But that's kind of the basis, right? The nuts and bolts of what a year-long developmental plan looks like and the purpose behind each one of them. Okay? We want to recover. We want to build. We want to get strong as crap. Now we got to transfer that stuff to the field somehow. And then in-season wise, it's time to continue and build, but in a systematic way. So let's dive into 2 phases. The first one will be phase 5. We're going to talk about movement screen and what we do. I think it's very important that you guys do this, especially with baseball. It literally takes 15 minutes, okay? And then at the end of every test, part of our active recovery is retesting this to see how they rescore, okay? We just call ours a Centurion movement screen. It's a diagnostic phase of your program. In a clinical setting, this is what separates you from the old personal trainer. I heard Pudge talk about this, going to their little hitting things, all that stuff. From a personal trainer and establishing yourself as a true performance architect. If you aren't screening, you're guessing. You don't really know, okay? Loading an athlete who has failed a movement screen is like putting a Ferrari engine into a car with a bent frame. Okay? It's not going to be good. It's only a matter of time before something bad happens. Why is a movement screen essential? First thing, you identify your energy leaks. Velocity is a result of a whip effect. The pitcher has a stiff T-spine. They can't create separation in their hips and shoulders. The energy generated by the legs dies at the torso, forcing the arm to overwork to make up the difference. Okay? And that's where you're going to keep getting injuries. Injury prediction, red flags. Most baseball injuries aren't accidents. They're results of chronic compensations while being overworked. Okay? They have an energy leak. They're compensating for that energy leak. And we're going to keep doing it over and over and over and over and over, and then something bad happens. Okay? Individualized programming. The screen allows you to group athletes based on their needs versus their age. Once the needs are met, now we can go back and talk about filling that force bucket. Okay? And getting freaking strong. Here's the 7 things that we do It's a score of a 1 through 3, so obviously the best score you can get to 21. We're going to do an overhead squat, a hurdle step over. We'll get and I'll show you a picture in a minute. PVC pipe, they do a straight RDL, their chest is parallel to the floor, and T-spine, arms are straight right behind the ears. Shoulder mobility, touching their arms behind their back. Active straight leg on the ground, test hamstring tightness, low back tightness. Core push-up, see if there's any weakness in the way they push up. You know, are they dominant right side, dominant left side? Can they not actually fully push up their body in one even movement? And then spinal and groin flexion. Okay, we do child's pose for that one. So top left will be our shoulder. Middle is what active straight leg looks like. The point is to have keep your hamstring on the ground, keep your legs straight. If your heel only comes to your knee, it's a 1. That's bad. Okay? Heel comes to mid-thigh, it's a 2. If you can get it right there to that hip bone, that's a 3. Okay? Here on the shoulder, your hands can touch, that's a 3. If you're within a fist width, it's a 2. Guy right here is like me, he'd be a 1. He probably struggles to wipe his ass. Okay? This guy right here, hurdle step over. Okay? Put a dowel on your back. Make sure your band is pretty much right around your lower knee. You're just knee up, step over, step back. You lean either direction while you do it. Because a lot of these guys, even though they can squat freaking 400 pounds, when they go to step over, they're doing like that. Okay? If you move either direction, you automatically down to a 2. And then my big focus is knee and toe being in line, okay? We get this, we get that, we get this. That's going to knock you down, okay? I showed you the hinge on the thoracic. I couldn't find a picture, but this is kind of the idea. We're going to RDL to our chest is parallel to the floor, and we want our arms straight behind our ears. Now, that'd be a perfect 3. If you can't RDL, get your chest to the floor, it's going to be a 2. If you can here, and then as you go behind your head, your chest raises up, that also puts you in a 2. If you can't do any of them, like some of our kids at Broome, it's a 1. Okay? Here's your overhead squat. Okay, we all know what that looks like. We want to be below parallel. We want to be as deep as we can possibly be. We want the biceps even with the ears. Okay? If you can't do this from the ground, we're going to elevate your heels on the plate. If you can do it, elevate on the plate, it's a 2. Can't do it from that, it's a 1. And then last one to test groin strength, spinal flexion, we're going to put you in a child's pose. Toes can touch, okay? You got to sit back until your butt is a fist width. I mean, some guys sit all the way back, but a fist width through your heel, arms straight, chest on the ground. You can be a fist width from your heel, chest on the ground, it's a 3. If one of those isn't it, it's a 2. Neither of them, it's a 1. Okay? And then core push-up. Core push-up is, from the ground, got to do 1 push-up in 1 solid motion. If so, it's a 3. Can't, modify it on your knees, do it, that's a 2. If you can't do that, you get a 1. And then after that, we score you. Okay? So when we look at these scores, we're not just looking at how flexible the kid is. We're trying to see, is he trainable? Is he able to be under a load? So, for the group that's 18 to 21, that's our high score, that's our green light kids, okay? Their movement patterns are efficient enough to handle high torque, high velocity loads required for elite velocity. Those guys are ready. Now, they may be weak as shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that they're like dominant players, but they can move now, right? We feel good about loading them and putting a part of our plan to get them where we want to be. 14 to 17 group, that's our yellow light kids. They have some energy leaks. Not everything is perfect. Okay, they can have their heel on their butt. They can't put their chest on the ground. Okay, they make an overhead squat if their heels are elevated. Okay, those guys, we will address those with like movement prep stuff we do within the weight room. Okay, but we feel like if we focus on what we're supposed to focus on in the weight room, that'll correct itself. And like I said, every time we test, we'll do the screen again. My guys 13 and below, we in trouble, right? And I'll be honest with you, at Broome High School, baseball kids are the ones that score the lowest. Who do you think scores the highest? Any idea? It's easy to me. Which ones? The girls. Girls are unbelievable, okay? Red lights, the score indicates a fundamental breakdown of how their body distributes stress. If you can't hinge, can't overhead squat, they're going to find that range of motion somewhere else. Low back, mid back, tight T-spine. So we try to get those kids to our AT staff. They need considerable help, more than I can provide them in a strength setting, because I have a job to do too. And we got to fix that before we get into some true heavy resistance training. Which one do you think is my girls' class? Bottom right. Which one do you think is the baseball kid in the bottom right? Yeah, the red one. Okay, ninth grade kid. I don't know how he wipes his ass either, but you know that just shows you the difference, right? So, but what I do as a strength coach is I do every block. I put it. Obviously, I didn't put their names on here for the presentation, but I send all this information. I group them by colors, and I send them to the athletic training staff. And they go ahead and they immediately contact the Reds through emails. And then we don't have a ton of Reds right now, which is good. So they'll start working on the yellows, right? Just five kids on Monday, 5 kids on Wednesday, until we can get them all where we want them to be. Okay, so we'll do this again.
How many trainers you got that work with these kids?
So we have 2 trainers. They're none of them. I guess they're what? I guess with Prisma. So they're not. They're pretty awesome. We're lucky because they decide to come in on their own at 11:30 to do this, where they don't have to come to school till 2:45, 3 o'clock. We're blessed. We have a really good athletic training staff. But yeah, we have 2. All right, phase 3. So that's all the movement screen stuff, but that is what that first phase would look like, right? We just got out of the season, tissue range of motion. Let's go ahead and screen our kids. Let's do some complex. Let's get the heart rate up, let's get the blood flow in the muscle. Let's see where we are. Get them to our athletic training staff. Now, this will be after we've done our hypertrophy phase and our force bucket phase. This is the phase that everybody likes, right? This is that speed strength phase, that velo scorecard, as we call it. This is a profile of 90-mile-an-hour athlete. Remember, that's the average kid, not the freaks. I mean, a freak may not hit any of those and freaking throw 90. Okay, we probably ain't got a lot of freaks walking through our building either. Okay, we've got those average, a kid who's 1 step over average, and we want to try to get this. Okay? He might be 82 as a sophomore. We got a kid I'll show you in a minute. He was sitting, 81 last year. He's probably going to sit 86, 87 this year. That kid's bought in. I mean, he is freaking bought in. It's fun when they're bought in. Okay? So here's the profile. Some of this is from Josh Heenan. You introduced me to him, hence about probably 8 years ago. And then I've kind of expanded some stuff through the years that I thought was important in terms of other transfer metrics. First one, momentum. Your height times 2.5. Your height in inches. Okay? That's your minimum ideal body weight. Okay? You got a guy that's 6 foot. He's 140. Okay? Probably in trouble. Okay? So if they want to really try to get to that ideal body weight, their height in inches times 2.5. Okay? That is going to be that ideal body weight for force production and to absorb force. Force, 400-pound deadlift. Okay? I think that's the number that he uses. That is to him the full bucket of raw strength to put it in the ground. Okay? Trap bar, straight bar. I'm a straight bar guy. You want to do trap bar? I don't care. Force is force. Okay? Stability. Reverse lunge. That ideal body weight. Okay? That your height times 2.5 on a bar, 10 backward lunges each for 1 set. Bust your ass, I promise you that. Okay? That will eliminate every energy leak within the stride, maintain balance, force production in the front leg, stability in the back leg. The next one is the brakes, right? We're talking about one. You can only accelerate what you can safely decelerate. Brakes, doing a pull-up at 250. Okay? That would be that ideal body weight plus the weight to get you to 250. So if your ideal body weight was 200 and you weigh 200, you can do a chin with 50 pounds. Okay? All the way down, all the way up. Okay? Posterior strength, safely decelerate the arm. All right, these are 2 that I added over time I thought were really good. Power. 33-inch vert on skyhook mat. If y'all have like jump mat, skyhook mats, or old Vertex, 33-inch vertical jump would be phenomenal. Okay, and 108-inch broad jump, which is 9 feet. Okay, I like vertical jump a little better because nothing wrong with broad jump, but a taller kid is going to easily jump vertical. Okay, but it's also a lot easier to do broad jumps than these vertical jumps. Okay, it's a direct measure of rate force development. How much are they able to put in the ground and get out of it? Speed talent, a sub 1-2-10 fly, and that's a 5 and a 10. 1-2-5 for a high school guy is pretty freaking good. Okay, 1-2 is really good. You get sub 1-2, you can fly. We got a kid right now, Simpson. He's gonna be a senior. He looks ugly as shit when he runs. I don't get it. He's the fastest kid I've ever seen in my life. Okay, he's like a 108. 5'10", okay? He can fly. That tells you he has got efficiency in the central nervous system, and he has the speed variable of the power equation. And the last thing, transfer, 300-foot long toss, serves as a field test for an athlete's ability to transfer weight room strength into explosive, sport-specific power. And of course, going back to that very first slide with quotes, being able to have perfect mechanics in the fastball, right? But those are the pieces I think are going to get you there, okay? And I think a lot of times you have those driven kids, and you hand them a piece of paper that says, hey, if you do these things, you probably got a good shot. They have something to go, a goal, they probably want to go after it instead of just arbitrarily training. How we divide up our basis of throw 90, our 3 days. Day 1, all Olympic power, tons of hang cleans, front squats. We're going to be explosive in the central nervous system. We're going to ignite it that day. Day 2, we're going to press, horizontal, vertical press. Push jerks are going to be our explosive movement. And we're going to bench, really work on that upper body rate of force development. Day 3, that absolute strength. Hit those deadlifts. We're going to get that 400-pound number. 10 rep max. We're going to have backward lunges on one of those days. We're going to really try to fill the force bucket to make sure we can do our best to hit these metrics right here. Okay? And that's already been hit on in the first 2 cycles. This is kind of what a workout would look like. I don't really use Excel anymore. I use Rat Coach. You guys have never used Rat Coach, never heard of it, you might want to write it down and look them up. And a company is awesome. It's the best way to have a timing system in the weight room. It puts the numbers up there for you kids. If I have time, I'll pull it up on the internet and let you guys see it. It's very efficient, very good. Okay? But common workout here for throw 90, 2 hang cleans, 3 front squats. Okay? Cooper, you done this program a lot back in the day. Clean 240 at 150. Okay? Tuck jumps, wood choppers, your backward lunges, your chins, your auxiliaries. The next day, like I said, it's your jerks, your presses, your weighted chins, some ab work at the bottom, heavy pulls on the day, third day, squats, and some other posterior chain work. Okay? And in terms of load, we're just trying to move stuff really, really fast. Really, really heavy, really fast. The logic of why it works, well, the primary lift is what's going to establish the strength ceiling. It's really moving something hard and heavy fast. 80, 85% with high bar speed, but the key is having low volume in the set. The moment you get those upper level volumes of sets, you're not moving stuff fast anymore. Okay? We're not just moving heavy weight, we're moving it with violent intent to prime the nervous system. And then every one of our supersets, okay, is going to be something that is not weighted after. A little contrast training, right? We're going to clean 80% here, which is pretty tough, for 2 hang cleans with 3 front squats to finish it. And we're immediately coming off of that, and we got tuck jumps for 8, okay? So our body's been loaded with something heavy, that it's gone, our active potentiation is there, and now it's time to jump through the roof. Stability and bracing, secondary lift, we're trying to build that lead leg block. Single leg focuses on lunges, RDLs, very elevated squats. Okay? Velocity is useless if you can't stabilize it. You got to be able to stabilize so that your body can whip through. If you can't stabilize, you can't rotate through it. You can't build the brakes and the foundation to let the arm fly. Okay? So you got to be able to stabilize, have that good balance work in there. A couple of videos. You know, I don't do a ton of videos. I'm always coaching, and I realize, hey, I got this thing to go on. I better get some videos. But there's some examples of kids working some hang cleans. That kid that just cleaned there. Oh, if it'll go back or not. Right when he finished, he gets on that last clean. He's literally dropping the bar, turn around, and he's hitting his tuck jumps right there. Okay. There's some auxiliary work on the side. Kids doing some weighted chins, some seated good mornings. Got some squats, got some elevated push-ups. This is where we're trying to build some force stuff. Deep squats, 10 rep maxes, or whatever the plan is for that day. We're building our brace, building our stability, our backward lunges, trying to work up to be able to get our ideal body weight for 10 each leg. That's the strength component. The next component is the max velo and jumping. Okay? I think as coaches, we grow the longer we do it, right? And I wish I had the resources and knew this stuff then when I was at Lansing. You know, now I look back and it's like, man, what happened if we did all this stuff, right? We did it, but we didn't track it. Okay? And if you're not tracking, if you're not using the data, you're just guessing. So, force velocity curve, the pinnacle of explosive output. When I first interviewed at Lansing, Little was actually in the interview and looked at me crazy. I said, the most explosive sport you will ever play is baseball. I'm like, what? Yes, it really is. Baseball is the most explosive sport you'll ever play because it's really one of the few sports where you're fully recovered every time something happens. Right? You could literally be in right field for an inning before a ball is, 2 innings before a ball is hit to you. Okay? So you ain't tired, right? Your body is primed, prepped, and ready to react and go. Okay? Baseball is a sport defined by maximum effort followed by complete recovery, unlike flow sports like soccer and basketball, where you're always moving long distance and you're not running fast, but you may have to do an acceleration, and now you're tired, now I got to jog in. But you ain't got that in baseball. Okay? You are fully recovered every at bat. Maybe not a pitcher, I get it. Maybe not a catcher, I get it. But the rest of them, man, you are, and that's still not terrible, okay? But you're fully recovered, okay? The freshness factor, because there's a minimum cumulative aerobic effect and no active load. There's no active load in baseball, okay? Players operate at peak performance potential. Every swing, every pitch, every sprint, there's really no excuse for saying I'm tired. Right? You are fully recovered. Absolute velocity is the focus. There's no external resistance. It's not like football where you're pushing and pulling. People knocking you from the side. The primary constraint is just, can I overcome gravity and inertia? And can I do that really fast? So that's the force velocity curve. Okay? And it's simple. Okay? The more force it takes, the slower you're going to move it. The lighter the force, the weight, faster you're going to move it. And our goal here at our level, in our development, is to get this curve to go from here and get it from here. Well, what does that mean? This is sitting 76, this is sitting 79. Okay? This is sitting 82, this is sitting 87. Okay? We're just trying to move that force velocity curve to the right. And you have that ability because you're fresh. You just got to train for it. Max velo, speed reserve concept. When you naturally get faster, the sub-maximal things also get faster, right? Because you're just naturally faster, okay? Like tracking a fly ball, okay? If you can run a 6'8" 60 and now you're a 6'5" 60, tracking a baseball is going to be a lot faster for you because it's that speed reserve concept. Neural recruitment, sprinting at 100% intensity is the most potent form of CNS training. Sprinting is so important if you want transfer output. Okay? It teaches the brain to recruit motor units faster, which will directly relate to increased arm speeds and back speeds at the plate. Okay? Sprinting gap. It's big in football. It's big for linemen. It's also big in baseball. Okay? A lot of baseball guys pull hamstrings. A lot of football guys cramp. Okay? They're not cramping because they haven't had a banana. They're not cramping because they're not hydrated. They're cramping because in practice, they're just blocking and half-assing. And then when you play in a game, you're sprinting, your muscles aren't ready. They're going to cramp. Okay? Just like if you ain't lifted. You guys ain't lifting in 6 months. You go to squat, them legs gonna start cramping in about 2 sets. It's the same concept, okay? You need to sprint your kids every day, whether you do it in a baseball sense or a sprint sense, like with your class, okay? We will line up our dashers, okay? That's a 5 and a 10. Like I said, a good time is sub 1-2. You can probably run through a whole baseball team. If I had 17 kids, I'd get 3 timed and written down 16 minutes, 17 minutes, okay? I mean, it's efficient, okay? But I would track it, okay? It's a piece of paper, all their names, track it, put an Excel sheet, okay? Have something to go for, okay? It's also important to do fun change of direction stuff. I love running arc circles. Every time I whistle, they got to change direction. The kids that are strong, they change direction better. Your kids that are strong are probably least likely to get picked off, because they can change direction and get back to first quicker. Okay? But just come up with fun drills, sprint drills, where you're changing direction, you're running fast. This kid right here, he's terrible. God almighty. Okay? You coach him. Watch the kid in the middle. Right. Yeah, terrible. Not almighty. Okay? But his other kid not very big, right? He don't have the whole ideal body weight. He's also a freshman. Kill to the left. Watch how low he gets when he changes direction. Right there. It's how fast. I mean, that's good. Okay? He's probably strong for his body weight. He just got to get a hell of a lot bigger. Okay? Jump training, explosive power. I'm about done, guys. Vertical power. Okay? It's a baseline of total body explosiveness. It measures a player's ability to produce force in the ground. Horizontal jumps, broad jumps, lateral jumps, single leg jumps. More sport specific for baseball, pitchers at lateral drive off the mound, hitters, rotation off the back leg, and just in general, rate of force development. Baseball is a game of milliseconds. It's not about how much force you have. It don't matter if you squat 500 pounds. It'd be nice, but it's not matter if you squat 500 pounds. It's how fast can you turn on the switch? How fast you see, react, and drive. Okay? So we do a ton of jump stuff. We record on the skyhook mat here. Kid there jumped 32. That's kind of what we're looking for, that 33 number. They just spit it out to you. Boom. And you just do 3 in a row, track it, next kid up. It's super fast, super efficient. Some horizontal jump stuff we'll do. And just really trying to take that stuff we've applied in the weight room, that strength, and turn it into explosive power. Single leg jumps, double leg jumps, single and double leg jumps. That's fancy. Then turn it to a game. Okay, we'll work one side is doing all acceleration. The second half is working on plyos and bounds. On the whistle, kid on the left sprinting, kid on the right turn around. He's bounding. He's trying to get the other end before he gets touched. I mean, just simple, fun stuff. But they don't want to lose. Okay, it creates competition and buy-in. Okay. RSI, reactive strength, the other really good thing about skyhook, it is the ratio between jump height and ground contact time. Okay? It is not just how high can I jump, but how fast can I get back off the ground. Okay? And that's what a good thing that this does. And in baseball, it's super important. Great infielders, they have the highest RSI. They can bounce off the turf, react to the ball, base stealing, those first 2 steps. Tons of RSI to overcome inertia. Your goal is to be, I know it says 72.57 because Skyhook does a different metric, but you want to divide these, and if your kid's above a 2.5, he's sitting pretty good, okay? And that's his air time versus his ground time, okay? So that's another really important factor to get you. And again, all that stuff is to help you get your kid to that profile of a 90-mile-an-hour kid. Okay? Well, what's our limitations and constraints? Okay? Listen, I love talking about this stuff, but I would be lying to your face if I said I got to do all this stuff at Broome. Okay? At Broome, we don't have a football class. At Broome, we don't have a baseball class, basketball, we have none of this shit. Okay? So I have to find a way to work it within my program with all my other kids, okay? If you have a class, man, that's phenomenal. Happy for you. You have a lesser excuse than I do in terms of what you can put on the field, okay? But what's the messy reality of coaching? Integrated weight rooms, managing baseball players in the general athletic class, which is what we have, okay? Focus on filling their force buckets for their 90-mile-an-hour profile, on top of just having kids that may only play this sport, on top of the same class that has a 90-pound girl that, can't lift the bar yet, okay? It's hard, okay? You got to find a way to really work the room. Coach talked about this, that private coach paradox, okay? You're always competing with those gurus in the private sector, okay? You got to learn how to work with them, have quality communication, keep those kids bought in. Training age, biological age, okay? Lower training age requires kids that haven't really trained, they're weak, they need a lot more work in that hypertrophy phase, and they ever need to work on that transfer phase and worry about throwing 90, okay? So, it isn't easy, okay? But, even though it isn't easy, if you have a plan, you can work through it, okay? And be detailed in your approach, having extra coaches help. I know, Coach, you have a great setup with you and Ryan. That's phenomenal. Okay? We're jealous, okay? But those things really, really help. But limitations and constraints are part of everything, okay? Summary, we'll just do a quick wrap up. I can't stress enough, audit your athletes, okay? Run a screen, see what's wrong, identify it. Are they just weak? Are they just slow? Or are they like us, weak and slow? Okay? We got to get them out of that. Okay? Program the phase. Don't chase every goal at once. Okay? It is so easy to look at that profile of a 90-mile-an-hour athlete and want to either do the strength stuff or do the speed stuff, whatever phase you're in. Okay? That's what you're working on. Okay? If you ain't chasing, In closing thought, if in a sport that's defined by milliseconds, success is found at the far right of the curve. If we aren't chasing at absolute velocity, we're conceding the advantage. Train with intent, refine the output, and understand that velocity is really what dictates the game. References. There's all my information. Again, email me, text me, call me. There's a lot left on the table. It's really hard to take what you can do in a whole entire year in one presentation. But I'll send you whatever I got, come to your school, sit down, meet with you, talk with you, just to help everybody out. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it.